Hello, welcome to Classic Sci-Fi Court. I am your classic sci-fi judge, Mr. Joe Crow, and here's what we're doing at the Classic Sci-Fi Court. Lots of times, uh, amongst your friends, neighbors, enemies, perhaps, you find yourself having to defend the movies that you like. And it doesn't matter if the movie is an Oscar nominee or something like a Sharknado. It doesn't matter. And a lot of times, those aforementioned friends, relatives will say, boo, your movie taste is terrible. Or, boo, no one should like such a movie as that. And they sometimes are wrong. I, today, with my judge's robe, will decide. And you will get a verdict on whether the movie you say is one of your favorites is good or bad. And I'm going to say they're all good. I don't know. If you enjoy it, that's great. And if somebody else chooses to pick it apart, those people are sticks in the mud. But we'll get to that in the Classic Sci-Fi Court defenses. So what I'm going to do is I have the gavel of Classic Sci-Fi Court justice right here, and once I render my ruling, that ruling is binding. And if anyone after that point says to you, well, boo, I think Friday the 13th Part 4 is a bad movie, you can say, no, it was ruled good by the Classic Sci-Fi Court judge. And so there you go. I'm helping. I hope I'm helping. Now let's look in the chat room to see if any delightful people are waiting to throw out names of movies for me to defend, or me to judge, rather. Movies they might want to defend. I'm not seeing anybody. Are we having an empty court today? Look, that's very possible. So here's what I'm going to do. Pardon me. Pardon my vehicle. Look, this vehicle is the only vehicle where justice can be served properly. This is a scientifically adequate judging zone. And that's why I'm out here. So here's what I'm going to do. Look, we have a comment in the chat. Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park. All right, here's the thing. Who in their right mind would say that Jurassic Park is not a good movie? Oh my gosh, it has dinosaurs in it, you weirdos. Here's what I want to say to anyone who says, I don't like that Jurassic Park. Why not? What's wrong with you? Is there something? I think there must be. Because, look, here's the thing. You got your dinosaurs. Secondly, let's say you take all the dinosaurs out. Let's say you ignore the dinosaur parts of Jurassic Park. You still got Jeff Goldblum. You still got Samuel L. Jackson. Well, for part of it, you have Samuel L. Jackson. I see no possible criticism that would be accurate for Jurassic Park. So here is what I would like for you to say, that when someone says to you, I don't like that Jurassic Park, you say to them, maybe it's you that's extinct. Maybe it's your taste in movies that's extinct. I believe that is the final judgment. So Jurassic Park, not guilty of being a bad movie, but very guilty of being awesome. Right here, look at me, boom, 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 right there. Right there, we have got a final verdict. Now we're looking back in the chat. Flash Gordon. Next up is Flash Gordon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Flash Gordon, 1981, starring the legendary Sam J. Jones and Melody Anderson, who so happens to be the actor, one of the actors in the greatest show in the history of television, which I'll get to. Flash Gordon, of course, based on a wacky comic strip back in the 30s and 40s. But that movie, I think the criticism from uh, Sticks in the Mud is that, oh, it's so cheesy. I don't like my science fiction with cheesiness. Dude, that's where it started. There would be no thinky science fiction without the original cheese of the 40s and 50s. Um, and oh, maybe Flash Gordon is too funny with the guy in the golden wings and all that. Comedy and sci-fi has been there since the beginning too. So what I'm saying is, you're wrong if you think Flash Gordon shouldn't have been funny and shouldn't have been cheesy, because that's what Flash Gordon is. Flash Gordon. Now, granted, the original comic strips, the beloved cartoon from around the same time, not at all what you would call white bread or um, plain Jane types of sci-fi goodness. Crazy, adventuresome, bonkers storylines, world building, everything cool uh, is a part of the Flash Gordon universe, and they tried to depict that in the live action flick. Um, and also, the soundtrack by Queen. Is Queen the greatest band in the history of the universe? Well, they thought so. That's true. So, not guilty of not being awesome, but no, Queen, they thought so, and they were right. Queen is amazing, and they did an entire soundtrack for this movie, and all everyone remembers is one word: Freddie Mercury going Flash. Everyone remembers that, and for that reason, that's another good reason that Flash Gordon is a terrific flick. So you've got the soundtrack going throughout the whole thing. You've got the future James Bond, Timothy Dalton, playing Prince Baron, and Sam J. Jones, who is just the most all-American Flash Gordon-y, all university, not just all-American. He really is, I believe. I believe he is going to save every one of us. I think this movie saved every one of us. And now let's talk a little bit about Melody Anderson, of course, playing Dale Arden, not just the damsel in distress, although the Dale Arden character is one of the original damsels in original distress. Melody Anderson did not play her that way. She's kind of assertive, kind of has her own agency in this movie, and kind of does her own stuff. Takes care of her own business, and is also some of the best lines, some of the best delivery, and some of the best costumes. So all good things. And lastly, of course, Melody Anderson wins a certain number of let's say an astounding number of verdicts to the positive because of her appearance in a little show from the early 80s called Manimal, where she played a lady cop. She did not actually become animals. That was some dude, some British dude. She was a lady cop who could not tell the difference. He would frequently turn into something, and then she would talk to an animal and say, Dr. Chase, you need to, and it wouldn't be him, it would be an actual creature. And that's the level of humor we're talking about. Look, I was 13, man. Manimal, best show on television. Melody Anderson, best co-star in Manimal, and also best co-star in Flash Gordon. So once again, let's render the classic sci-fi verdict with the classic sci-fi gavel. Flash Gordon, guilty of maybe being the best movie in the universe. Right there. All right. Well, we got more comments in more chats. All right. We got a couple. Let's see. All right. Labyrinth. Labyrinth is, I think it's on the same level in some ways as Flash Gordon, because it does two crazy fantasy stuff, kind of what Flash Gordon did to sci-fi stuff, while it has the evil guy, the evil sorcerer, and the child in distress, and the girl played by Jennifer Connelly. I'm almost certain. I'm gonna say yes, it is Jennifer Connelly. Um, I, they What was I? I've lost my train of thought, ladies and gentlemen. I'm guilty of losing my train of thought. Um, it also has David Dadgum Bowie, one of the most inventive, creative musicians, personalities, performers in the entirety of pop culture, guys. And David Bowie just owns it. He's just wearing a big old cloak and a robe and this typical sorcerer stuff, but he David Bowie's the heck out of that thing. He is tremendously great in this movie, and the music is bonkers. The the puppetry, classic. If you have a chance, go to the Center for Puppetry Arts in Atlanta, Georgia, where they have on display a lot of the actual creations of Jim Henson himself that were used in this movie. That's right. The Muppets, the creator of the Muppets, was one of the creators of this movie. But the movie is a terrific fantasy flick, and maybe kind of dark in places, because I mean, child in danger, but look, everything turns out fine. And really, for me, it's difficult to feel like David Bowie is a threat. So maybe his villainy isn't uh, so villainous, because I feel like, well, that's David Bowie, man. He's just going to go play Let's Dance in a minute. And however, a lot of people do not feel that way, and rightly so. But you gotta give credit to the creators of this movie. It's this year is its anniversary year, and it still holds up. It doesn't seem like a movie from the 80s, even though, I mean, David Bowie, Jennifer Connelly, and also I would like to, speaking of, if I may go back for just a moment, going back to the Muppets Fizz Gig, you guys, the little thing, the little screamy thing, best cameo, best creature in a movie ever, possibly top 5 at least. The thing is just love it. I absolutely love it. I'm kind of trying to do a Fizz Gig cosplay right now. Look at that. I'm really working on it. So if anybody says to you, "Yeah, I don't like that Labyrinth movie," tell them, why don't you try? Why don't you try making a movie without David Bowie? See what happens with you. Try making a movie with David Bowie. You can't. He has already ascended to a higher plane. But Labyrinth, still great. Well worth watching. Well worth rewatching. And just all around great stuff. So once again, Labyrinth. I got to weld the gavel of justice. Classic sci-fi justice. Labyrinth. Not guilty of being bad, guilty of being incredible. Let's check back into, what was that? Let's check into the chat room. And Avatar. Well, Avatar, the live action movie. Well, sir. All right, here we go. Buckle in, kids. Avatar, the live action movie. Out of the list so far of movies that have been presented before this court, whoo, whoo, the cartoon series, the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender, such a game changer, such a for a certain age of kiddos and grown-ups watching the Cartoon Network during a certain number of years. Avatar was must viewing. The same kind of thing for kids, youths of my age were into viewing G.I. Joe and Transformers. Avatar: The Last Airbender was that for them. And any live action flick, any live action film that attempts to adapt something that was so beloved is going to be an uphill battle. But in this case, it was uphill. And then when they got to the top of that hill, it was uphill some more. And then when they got to the top of that, they were like, still difficult, still hard to maneuver. But Avatar: The Last Airbender, kind of a bummer that after the amazing success of the cartoon, the live action movie, and every fan, whether you knew it or not, every fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender was looking forward to that live action movie because we all want new stuff from our favorite cartoons. Well, what I mean is, yes, we want new seasons continuously all the time, but when things get translated into movies, there's always that hope that this thing is going to get gigantic and everybody on the planet is going to be super into this thing that I like. And unfortunately, with Avatar: The Last Airbender, this thing got out into the public and not many people went to see it. So then the Avatar fans don't have this. All they still have their actual thing. They still have their OG, their original cartoon show, and they still have that. But then they they don't have this new movie to, and probably in my opinion, a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender movie watchers, maybe they might some of them are going to say, "Oh, I haven't seen that." Yeah, you did. It's okay to say that you did see it, and it's okay if you didn't like it. You still have your TV show. You still have all the other Avatar: The Last Airbender things. In this case, Avatar: The Last Airbender, guilty of disappointment, guilty of being a disappointment to such a huge fan base of Avatar junkies, Avatar fans. So come on, guys, live action people, do more Avatar stuff. Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff, not Avatar the Blue People stuff. Do more Avatar stuff, and you know, step your game up a little bit. Come on, people. Oh my gosh, the Twilight Saga. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how much time do we have left? I I'm gonna do the whole thing as one judgment. I'm gonna group all the cases into one judgment. Hey, we all like vampires, man. We all like modern day vampire stories. We all like action stuff, action stories with feuds between vampires and werewolves. But man, why did Twilight have to be so weird? And again, no judgment on weirdness. Weirdness is fun. We love weird. But this is another case of course, the books were enormous. The books were gigantic. And then when the movies came about, which wasn't very long after the books, um, everyone couldn't wait to go see them. The movies were huge. So at least they didn't have that last Airbender excuse of thank you. Nobody went to see them. Everybody went to see all of the Twilight movies. Everybody read all the Twilight books, and pretty similar, um, except for lots of chunks taken out because the movies could only be a couple or 3 hours long. At least that's the actual runtime. What they seem like, ha, I don't know. They seemed longer, some of them. And let's talk about the portrayal of ladies. Let's talk about the portrayal of women in the Twilight movies. It seemed like with Kristen Stewart, her character, the only deal was her ultimate goal had to be and was just to get a boyfriend, to get a hot vampire boyfriend. I mean, I get it. He's good looking. But the entirety of uh, the books, the entirety of their relationship is kind of creepy. The whole thing's kind of creepy. And then also creepy, the werewolf kid who imprints on the child of Kristen Stewart and handsome vampire dude whose name escapes me. Just weird, just super creepy. Um, so many things. I am gonna say that the Twilight Saga, right there, the Twilight Saga, guilty of being off-putting. How do you like that? Off-putting. And congratulations for all the money it made, but that doesn't make it awesome. And there's your judgment. Okay, what else we got? Let's see. We have The Hobbit. We have Short Circuit 1 and 2. Uh, let's see. My gosh. And they just told me I've got 35 minutes left. I'm I don't think I'm going to make it the whole 35, but I am going to talk about The Hobbit in a minute. So what that means is I'm gonna you'll think that I'm done, Sorry about that. Hello, I'm back. Sorry about that. Where were we in the chat? Okay, I remember we had The Hobbit, and we had The Hobbit, and let's do the Hobbit movie, not the Lord of the Rings movies, which are indisputably, I'm gonna go ahead and say great. Come on, it's the Hobbits. It's the Hobbits, plural, not the Hobbit, which was a very short book compared to the entirety of all of the other Lord of the Rings things. So what they decides to do is, hey, let's make three of them. Really, the first three Lord of the Rings movies could have been like seven movies, but The Hobbit, you're lucky to get the one, and they got three. So congratulations to Peter Jackson and all the cast members for all that money that they earned in a good way, because hanging out in New Zealand playing swords and flying around with giant eagles, which was not stunts, that was actual. That's it's difficult work, guys. It's difficult work. Um, but the Hobbit movie, as spread out across three movies, still pretty good. But it's at some point you think to yourself, do I still have a job? Do I still have a family? What day is it? Or am I still watching these movies? And it's but now quality wise, the actual workmanship of the Hobbit movies, tremendous, great, smog, everything, amazing, well worth watching if you haven't watched it. But again, watch the clock. You all of a sudden it's going to be Tuesday, and you're going to be like, "What have I been watching Lord of the Rings movies for a week?" Not a bad way to spend time, but yeah, it could happen. So I'm going to render the. Well, where the heck did the gavel go? I. There it is. The Lord of the Rings, I'm rendering it guilty of being super long, but also not guilty of being um, poorly made, and certainly not off putting. So now let's go to the next. I believe we had Short Circuit, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm very thankful for the suggester for putting Short Circuit 1 and 2 together as a suggestion is comparable saga wise. And the Hobbit, maybe it is comparable. Talking robot. Are there talking robots in Lord? Are there talking robots in the Hobbit? For that reason alone, not guilty of and guilty of being uh, will say maybe an actual Indian person. again. Welcome. Hello again. Welcome back to the Classic Sci-Fi Court. Let's check the chat. We've gone through Jurassic Park, Flash Gordon, Labyrinth, Avatar, the live-action movie, The Twilight Saga, The Hobbit, Short Circuit 1 and 2. And, oh my gosh, I think we have rendered some valuable judgments today. And there's, I believe that, as we always do, as Judge Joe Crow always does in the Classic Sci-Fi Court, I believe we have rendered upon you, the jury, the courtroom audience, reasons to like these movies and to tell sticks in the mud why you like them. I'm going to go back through the chat and we'll highlight we'll do highlights of the decisions that we've made so far. Short summaries, if you will. Jurassic Park, it has dinosaurs and Jeff Goldblum. It's great. Flash Gordon, no dinosaurs, no Jeff Goldblum. Has Hawkman though in gold short shorts, and also a future James Bond, and also the lady cop from Animal, and also Freddie Mercury, and also Queen, the greatest band in the universe. Labyrinth, David Bowie, for goodness sake, and Jim Henson. Well, that's right, David Bowie, and the creator of the Muppets, all the Muppet guy, made all the creatures in Labyrinth, so that's also good. And Avatar, the live-action movie, not the cartoon, not the thing with the blue people, a live-action attempt at a beloved cartoon series. So just watch the cartoon. It's fine. It'll do you right. The Twilight Saga. Speaking of not being done right, the Twilight Saga. How many movies? 4, 3, 12. Off-putting. In one word. The Hobbit. Not off-putting. Cool hobbits, magic, sorcerers, swords, creatures, lots of good things, but also kind of stretched out over 3 movies when the original story was like a couple hours of reading time, not of movie time. Still though, as much Hobbit as you want to give me, I'm gonna take, but it's also going to take me weeks to consume. It's going to be like Tuesday, and I'm going to be like, what has happened? Again, not a bad thing. Short Circuit 1, Short Circuit 2, or as I call them, the Short Circuit Saga. Delightful. Incredibly 80s, as you might assume, since that's when they were made. Talking robots. The first amongst the movies that we have discussed in this court session that had talking robots. So I think by default you got to give it a positive verdict right there. And let's see, we don't have any more topics. So here, I'll throw one out. Let me see. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Let's see. You had me at Batman v Superman. You didn't have to tell me that what it was the dawn of. You didn't have to. And really, did justice arise at any point in that movie? It did not. And it could have used, of course, the thing everybody goes back to is they both have mothers named Martha. And what a lovely joke that was. Everyone got such a kick out of it. Here's the thing. When both characters were created in the late 1930s, every woman was named Martha. They had no options. That's why the two guys had mothers named Martha. That was the only name for women that existed. Just Martha. So remove that criticism from your scabbard. That's for swords. Your quiver. That's for arrows. Remove that one from your scabbards arrows and your quivers, because every woman's name was Martha. So Batman and Superman, guilty of the title being too long. Not guilty of the Martha thing, as mentioned. So, other than that, I don't know. Batman worked out a lot when Superman didn't have to work out at all. So what the working out do, Bruce Wayne? Nothing. Unless you were working out with kryptonite, which you weren't. Why get all jacked up, man? Why make yourself sore? Why have to rub all the icy hot upon yourself when it's not going to make a difference? No matter how jacked to the gills you get, Superman's still going to be stronger. You know, because he's Superman. Sorry, buddy. But for health purposes, please keep working out. I'm not just saying that to Batman, just everyone in general, please work out. I should also let me reverse the camera and say that to myself. Joe, please work out. Let's see. All right, we're going back into the chat room. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we may be at the end of our session because we have no more suggestions. I do want to say thank you to the Hoover Public Library, to Kristen, to Justin, to everybody involved in the Sci-Fi Fantasy Fest. I absolutely love doing these every single year. I love doing these in person. I love doing it virtually. It's all great because part of the geeky thing is coming together and being together. And even if you can't come and do it in person, this is acceptable. This is a tremendous way to keep your geek stuff happening virtually. So please, I'm positive you've enjoyed the last few days of Hoover and Sci-Fi Fantasy Fest stuff. And I know you're going to enjoy what's coming up after me and what my friends have done before me and what's coming up next. So thank you to everybody. You can find me on Facebook at American Sci-Fi Classics. American Sci-Fi Classics. Just type that into your Facebooks. And the group where me and some of the people you've seen on panels today and a bunch of other like-minded nerds and geeks and other cool people talk about nerdy stuff all the time. Not just one time a year at conventions. So go there on Facebook, facebook.com/group/American Sci-Fi Classics, and also on the YouTubes. Because of the Pandelirium, we have done panels like this one every week since the thing started. What seems to be 12 years ago now. It wasn't 12 years ago, was it? So yeah, look on the YouTubes for American Sci-Fi Classics. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, go ahead and find me while you're here. But every week we do another hour-long panel of some different nerdy topic. And let's see here. Oh, we got another one. Ghostbusters. We'll wrap up with Ghostbusters. Okay, which Ghostbusters are we talking about? The biggest criticism went to, you thought it was Ghostbusters 2, and then the third one happened. Too bad for the naysayers. That movie's pretty funny. It is. If it was me, I would have put it in the Ghostbusters universe instead of attempting to do their own thing. But that's just the continuity nerd coming out. I say coming out. He never went in. Why would I? Why would I do that? I'm the classic sci-fi judge. But the amount of talented comedians and the amount of talented actors in that movie. Leslie Jones is amazing. Kate McKinnon, terrific. The other people who I can't, they're all good too. They're totally good. Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself. Who knew? Well, I guess we knew. I guess we knew from the original Thor, but then when Thor Ragnarok came about, we're like, oh, wait a minute, that dude is hilarious. Ghostbusters, still worth watching. Still Ghostbustering. Now, but let's go back in time. The second Ghostbusters, still pretty good because it had the same stuff as the first one. Just different, just more. And that's all we wanted. Really, had they not stopped at 2, would have been my fondest wish. They should have kept on doing. There should be 10 Ghostbusters movies. Since Ghostbusters 2 came out, there were rumors every year that there were going to be more Ghostbusters movies. Constantly. Different directors, different actors, and they finally did it, and people panicked when they finally did that. The Ghostbusters, the third Ghostbusters movie. Now, the new one, Ghostbusters Afterlife, they're being very close to the vest on, close to the proton pack, maybe, the proton accelerator, with what's going to be in it, what's going to be happening, and I don't want to know. I like the idea of Egon having grandkids, and them slowly discovering the Ghostbusters mythos. Cool. That sounds great. And then hopefully the remaining Ghostbusters show up. That's what I want. It just looks fun. Paul Rudd, the little mini Stay Puft Men, great. But the first Ghostbusters, again, jumping even further back in time, the first Ghostbusters, mega awesome. There were no superhero franchises in movies at the time. Ghostbusters, they were the biggest heroes in movies. And again, like I said, there should have been 10 movies. There should have been 10 Ghostbusters movies. But the first one, still rewatchable. Not dated, not 80s-ish. Highly recommended. And the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Also, seek that out. Written, a lot of them, by J. Michael Straczynski, who you may know from Babylon 5 and Sense8. Tremendous. Talented people all over the place in all of the Ghostbusters things. So seek those out. Seek all Ghostbusting apparatus out. Even the music video with Mr. Ray Parker Jr. Thumbs up. Where is my verdict? Ghostbusters. Verdict. Not guilty of being afraid of no ghosts, because clearly they are afraid. They are not afraid. They ain't afraid of no ghost, and that's what they are guilty of. All right, here we go. 84? The year? Okay, wait a minute. I think you're correcting me on the number, the year. The year the Ghostbusters came out. Also, perhaps what you're saying to me is there should have been 84 Ghostbusters movies, and I can't disagree. There really should have been 84 Ghostbusters movies. Guys, once again, thank you to the Hoover Library. It also just conveniently happens to be the library that my family and I do our librarying in. Wait, that did not come out correctly. Do our librarying. My wife is I've gone down a rabbit hole. It's terrible. So we do our librarying at the Hoover Library. We've got some books that are coming up due. I'll get them in, I promise. And let's see, here we go. There we go. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt, for hanging out. Let's go back to the chat. I want to thank everybody who hung out with us. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Justin. I had a tremendous time doing this. Let's do it again next year. Let's do it in person next year. We can do this again. We can do this next week. I would say that I would do it right now, but, well, okay. I will. All right, shut everything else down. Shut everything else down. We're going to keep doing more of these. Is that cool? Is that okay? It's not? Okay. We've got something else coming up in just a couple of minutes. You guys, thank you again from the Hoover Library, for Hoover Library Sci-Fi Fantasy Fest. Everybody, please leave comments. Leave messages to all the people who are in in charge of doing all these things. Seek out all of the panelists and presenters that you've seen tonight, like me. Look for my stuff. I do cool stuff. And again, thank you guys very, very much. We will see you very soon at the next event Sci-Fi and Fantasy Fest puts on, whether it's next year or in 15 minutes. I'm not sure. 12 minutes? Let's say 12. Thank you guys very much. My name is Joe Crow. Facebook.com/group/American Sci-Fi Classics. On YouTube at American Sci-Fi Classics. I will see you guys very soon. Thank you, Hoover Library. You guys are the best. And viewers, watchers, you guys are the best. The best of everything. The coolest of everything. We will see you soon. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for supporting Hoover Library and Sci-Fi and Fantasy Fest. Everybody stay safe, be good, have fun.